Cool. So just to introduce myself again, guys, I'm the co-founder and CEO of Grow.com. We're a full service performance marketing agency. We've been around for about 6 years. We're based in Los Angeles. And we started out as an SEO agency. That's all we did for the first 2.5 years. So that's like core to our DNA. That's my expertise. Prior to starting Grow, I worked at Google in San Francisco for 2 years on the ad side. And then I was the director of growth at Opendoor, which is the publicly traded real estate platform. And I was in charge of all organic growth there. So really just became an SEO nerd. And, nerd is a term of endearment at our company. And so this is a very good time for us because it's only natural that we become leaders in this generative engine optimization world, or, answer engine optimization world, however you want to call it. But essentially, the reason I'm excited to talk today is because I've been studying this for the past year. Just I'm sure many of you have, to figure out what is this, and how do brands become present here? How do they dominate here? How do they get an early mover advantage on it? For the first 6 months, I really didn't know. I was just exploring and using all these different LLMs myself, trying to familiarize myself with it. And we didn't have a product around it because I wasn't sure what would actually move the needle. And we don't want to offer anything as a service to customers unless we know we have really strong conviction that it's going to lead to results. And so essentially, what has happened over the last 6 months, as I'm sure a lot of you have seen, is there's been 10 different AI visibility software companies that are all heavily venture backed, that have raised tons of money. And their whole goal is to just surface data that was previously never available to brands, and then basically use that data to figure out what actions can be taken to increase your visibility. So, I'll kind of go through this briefly, but this, I think everyone who's here knows why geo matters, and I'll go through some slides that show the usage data and things of that nature. But brands want to be present on all LLMs and be able to get actual real referral traffic, be able to strip out, how much traffic you're getting from LLMs and how much revenue you're getting from LLMs, and treat it as a completely separate sales channel. And ChatGPT and Perplexity specifically are moving very quickly on this, specifically in e-commerce. Yesterday, we saw that ChatGPT launched instant checkout for Etsy and Shopify customers, which I think affects most of us. And I think that you're going to start to see what's so interesting about that is in Shopify, you're going to see that as a different sales channel. So you'll be able to isolate that and see how much it's contributing to the business. But it doesn't work the way that Amazon does, where you don't get your customer data. The purchase is actually taking place on, inside your Shopify, and you're responsible for, customer support and communications and all that, refunds, emails, lifecycle, all that type of stuff. So a couple of our brands have already gotten emails from ChatGPT letting them know they've been accepted into that program. We're trying to get more and more in there. But I think it's a very interesting time given that announcement. Okay, so this is what it looks like for one of our brands. This is just a very basic prompt. What is a good protein coffee brand? And you can see ChatGPT is giving an answer about protein coffee, and then it's giving some recommended brands. So highlighted in that green box is our client, Javy Coffee. And our job is to move them up in terms of their average position. So this works the same that average position does on Google, traditional search. And you can see our client's number 5 here. And through a mix of content and citations and a few other things we'll get into, that's how we increase their visibility for not only this prompt, but several others. Okay. This shows traditional search versus AI tool visits. This is not new or novel to anyone on the call, but obviously usage is growing into the millions. And we're seeing that from our clients just from 6 months ago to today. The percentage of referral traffic that's coming from LLMs 6 months ago is probably 1 to 2% on average, and now we're seeing it in the range of 6 to 8% on average per brand that we're working with. So we can only imagine where that's going to be in another 6 to 12 months. Okay, so the most important thing I think I could share with you all today is what actionable steps do you take to actually improve visibility? Because these the tools that we've analyzed and the ones that I've chosen to use for Grow and for our clients, they are only as valuable as the quality of the data, and then understanding what the strategy is to make use of that data. But none of the software tools are actually doing the actionable services. That's where we come in. They're just showing you where you rank and what prompts to be tracking and how to track it, same way you would in Ahrefs or SEMrush. Okay. So the first thing that all brands should do, anyone on this call, is add a separate robots file so that LLMs can actually access and read the site, just like you would do a robots that TXT file for your core homepage on traditional search. There's a separate dedicated LLM XML sitemap that you need to add. I can email everyone after this with the exact code snippet, but if you just ask ChatGPT what it is, you'll see it as well. And it includes, all the major 8 LLMs, Microsoft Copilot, all the 3 from Google, ChatGPT, Perplexity, Grok, and Claude. So that's pretty much the list of like that. That'll capture like 99.9% of LLMs that are trying to crawl your site. The first actionable thing that we do is create content, and we do it in 2 ways. We do short snippet AI ready answer pages. So this is like for very niche, long tail specific prompts. We'll launch a blog post in like an answers subfolder, and we'll put a different schema on that LLMs can read, and it just answers that specific question. The other way we do it is very similar to traditional search. We'll write a 1,500 or 2,000 word blog post that answers a series of related prompts that all answer up to a larger subtopic. And I'll show some screenshots of that in a second. Then we've got a big Reddit strategy. Reddit has a $70 million annual licensing deal with ChatGPT. 40% of citations come from Reddit for ChatGPT. And so we've got, we have like a whole strategy around that, which I'll get into. And then we do a lot of technical work to make sure that everything is set up properly from a site structure perspective so that LLMs can easily digest all the information. Okay. All right. The other valuable thing that I think I could offer to this group is that as I mentioned before, I tested out 10 different software tools, did trials with all of them. The best one that I found was Profound. Profound is the market leader. They raised like a $30 million Series A. They've got 60 engineers in New York City that are working on new features. But this is a snapshot of their interface for our client, Javy Coffee. So it'll show us like total visibility score over time, which means for all the queries that are relevant to this coffee business, what percentage of the time are they mentioned? Then we can look at all their competitors, Vital Proteins, Starbucks, Primal Kitchen, and we can see how they're ranking relative to all their competitors and then how that's trending over time. Okay. This is a very interesting screenshot that shows us for the parent topic for their hero product, protein coffee. Here's all the prompts that people are searching in ChatGPT and other LLMs sorted by prompt volume, which is a very similar metric to search volume on Ahrefs or SEMrush. Okay. So when it comes to content that we would write, I can see our visibility rank, our visibility score, and our average position for these, and our citation share. And if I really care about these, what I would do is write a blog post that talks about protein coffee as the hero. But then all of these little subtopics would be heading 2s in my long form piece of content. And I would answer those as thoroughly as I can. And what we found is that when we launch blog posts like this that go after these either on an individual level or at the higher, like bigger topic level, we can see a demonstrated increase in visibility score and citation share after that blog post has been up for a month or so. So I found that to be very interesting. But this tool allows you to be incredibly granular. So for most of our clients, we're tracking like, anywhere from 100 to 200 prompts that are relevant. We're constantly refining that, and it works just the same way that keyword tracking does in Ahrefs. This gives a little bit more detailed information around how we're doing the shorter snippet pieces of content. And what we're doing right now, because this is so new, is we're testing which type of content gets us more visibility on LLMs. And we're able to segment out visibility by LLM. So for all the 8 that we're tracking, we're able to see visibility score and citation score across all of those. Okay. So we talked a little bit about why Reddit matters. Here's the way that we're using Reddit that I think is very interesting. So through the Profound tool, I'm able to go and look at all the Reddit threads that are being cited in my client's space, for example. Okay. And there's a few different things that we're doing. The first is if our brand that we're representing has a subreddit, we reach out to the moderator. We let them know we're representing the brand in a very above board way. And then we work with that mod to give them information about new product releases, new company updates, anything that would be valuable to the end customer who's considering buying, the Fatty 15 supplement or whatever product that we're selling. And so that's working really well. If they don't have a subreddit, what we do is we go and create one, and we collaborate with a moderator to manage that sort of like community engagement ecosystem. That's proven very valuable because we can clearly tell people who we are, and we can interact with the community. They have questions about customer service. They have questions about the quality of product, shipping times, refunds, anything. We can participate in that conversation. The next thing that we do is we focus on the prompts that are getting the most prompt volume, that are important to the business. And we post new subreddits from accounts that are working with us. So we've got about 50 different Redditors that are, that have aged accounts, high karma, that have worked with Grow in the past in the writing capacity. We have them segmented by every niche that we operate in, that we have a client in. So we've got one in like the testosterone replacement therapy category. We've got one in the like women's health supplement category, so on and so forth. And then we post those new threads. And that seems to be a really good strategy. And then we have, based on the specific URLs for subreddits that are already getting cited, we can go in and have Redditors actually comment and interact with people on those specific threads to position the product in the right way and tell our unique selling propositions and things of that nature. And that sort of community engagement strategy has proven to be very effective, just because of the fact that 40% of citations on ChatGPT come from Reddit. Okay. This is a snapshot that shows the specific URL for not only the subreddit, but the actual individual page. And we can see like the citation share and then the global share. And that's how we prioritize our work. So this is like something that, data that had previously never been made available. That's why I love this Profound tool. I think it gives us a lot to work with in terms of determining what data can we action on to actually improve visibility. And so this has been very, very powerful. Another segment of this software that I've found very interesting is a sentiment score. So as you guys can see here, you've got, for this brand, Javy Coffee, 64% of the sentiment online on LLM specifically is positive, but we've got 36 and change percent that's not. So they talk about issues with subscription, poor customer service, inconsistent flavor. I can now work with the CS team at Javy Coffee to surface all of this. And then I can figure out where that's taking place on LLMs, and they can go try to fix those problems. So this isn't even really related to GEO or SEO, but it helps the business overall because it's just a very valuable way to filter through a sentiment analysis on LLMs. So I think a lot of the brands on this call would find that very valuable. And then the next and most important, sort of exciting area of Profound is it shows us the top pages online that are not our own domain, that contribute to the highest percentage of citations across all LLMs. So if you've got a PR team or you've got an affiliate team, historically, you were just kind of putting your finger in the air and being like, oh, this seems like a good listicle for me to be on, but it was never prioritized in this specific way where it shows like highest share of voice by affiliate article. And so what we're doing is working with affiliate teams and PR teams, surfacing this information and giving it to them so that they can prioritize their outreach to get you mentions. So for example, like right here, our client Javy is only mentioned in 2 of the top 10 websites, external third-party websites that are getting cited the most. That's a big problem. So now they know how to prioritize their efforts, and they can go get citations. So we're building teams internally as well that go and reach out to each of these publications, try to negotiate with them for inclusions for our brands. Okay. And then getting to the end of this. So in terms of tracking and measurement, so there's a couple different ways that we do this. The first is we've got a certain script in Google Analytics that strips out all LLM traffic, and we set up revenue tracking in GA as well. So when a client comes to us and they're trying to determine return on investment, it's very simple. Like we just care about traffic from LLMs and revenue from LLMs. When someone signs up with us, we set a baseline of where they're at from day one so that we're not taking credit for the progress they've already made before they come to us, but it establishes a baseline that we can then work off of. So we can actually prove that, hey, working with us and writing the content, doing the citations, doing the technical work, it has delivered X amount of uplift in traffic and revenue on a monthly basis that's going to be recurring. And then, so, talking about like what you should do, like we do free audits for everyone, all brands. So if anyone's interested, you can email me. I'll put my email in the chat, and we'll do a free AI visibility report for you. And then I'll come up with a strategy of how we would implement these things in terms of the tracking, the Reddit, the content, and things of that nature. But I think for every brand that's present today, it's very interesting to know where you stand right now and educate your whole, internal marketing team on how you can position yourself to be at the forefront of this. I'll get into questions in a second, but I want to add a couple more things. The thing that we're really gearing up for as a company is the introduction of the ad platform on ChatGPT and Perplexity. We're trying to get brands into the beta that Perplexity already has right now, and kind of see how that works. But we have partnered with one third-party company that I'm very interested by. It's called Context. For anyone who's interested, I can make an introduction, but they've essentially aggregated all of the inventory from all the LLMs you haven't heard of. And believe it or not, there's actually a lot. So their inventory now offers 1 billion daily impressions. And the arbitrage here is that the CPMs on that inventory is $3. Whereas for like 95% of my Meta clients, average CPM is $25 to $30. So it gives a great arbitrage opportunity there. The click-through rates that we're seeing so far is 3 to 5%. So materially higher than what you would see on Meta, Google, TikTok. And so we're testing that out now, and it's very basic, very rudimentary. So someone writes a prompt of like, what's the best protein coffee for working out? And it'll give a sponsored text box with an answer and then a link to your brand to then get people over to the website. So if anyone's interested in that, we can absolutely talk about that in greater detail as well. But I think, we're just trying to set ourselves up to give our brands an unfair advantage to be early in AI search, but also LLM ad ecosystem.